So I'm going to tell you a scary story that was told by my best friend. And my best friend is Aboriginal, and in his culture where he comes from in the Northern Territory, they have this creature called Stickman. And basically what Stickman is, he takes on the form of a human but is skinny like a stick, and he can hide behind trees, and he steals children, and he's a bad spirit. Anyway, the story that Joe told me was, many years ago, in his early 20s, he lived up in Cape York, up in the Northern Territory, and anyway, he was in this car with a few of his mates, and they were going towards this cattle station to stay for a while and muster cattle and do all that sort of thing. Anyway, so they're driving down this dirt road at night, lots of tall grass up at the sides, you know, it's pitch black except for the lights of the car, and next minute this kangaroo comes jumping out in front of them, and they hit it, bang, and the car swerved and went off the road a bit and came to a complete stop. And Joe and that jumped out of the car and had to look at the damage, and anyway, they turned back to see the kangaroo, and I had their flashlights and they were shining it towards where they thought they hit the kangaroo, and what they thought was a kangaroo was in fact Stickman, because when they were shining the torch on him, all of a sudden this kangaroo stood up on really tall legs, and they freaked out and they just screamed, jumped back in the car and just like sped off, and they were like all scared and like freaking out. So anyway, that was that, and they got to the cattle station and they all got in the house and they were all pretty scared, and so, you know, they all started drinking, and, you know, the night went on and it was like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. Anyway, Joe was sleeping in his bed, and the next minute he heard this scraping of like something scratching down the side of the house, and he turned to his brother and said, "Hey, there's something outside the house like this." And his brother was like, and then he started like getting really scared. He saw this really thin shadow just walk across the window, and he was like froze, and he was like hitting his brother. He said, Stickman's here, and anyway, his brother just woke up straight away, and I was like, oh my god, we've got to make lots of noise and shout. So they both jumped up screaming and shouting, and they just raced outside the house screaming and shouting, and Stickman wasn't around. Anyway, they went back inside and they all just stayed awake until the next day, and they when they went out the next day, they looked down the side of the house and they saw these scratch marks going down the side of the house. So that was that. Anyway, after he told me the story, I thought, a bit far-fetched maybe, a little bit, you know, whatever. Anyway, so we're back in Cairns, we're out in Cairns one night, and we're out clubbing, and there's this other nightclub which is just around the corner from where we go, and next minute all this black mob, Aboriginal mob, come running up to the club that I'm at, and they start talking to Joe, and Joe goes, oh my god, you're not going to believe it, Stickman was seen in the other nightclub, and all the coloured mob have just split out of the nightclub. It's just like it's empty, and everyone's freaking out that Stickman is around. apparently what had happened was this one guy went into the toilets and he heard this chanting coming from one of the cubicles, and he thought, that's weird. Anyway, he looked underneath the cubicle and he saw these bony feet of Stickman, and he just bolted, and next minute the door's falling open and it was Stickman, and evidently he ran out into the nightclub and everyone saw him and just freaked. And it was in the paper the next day. There was like biggest panic. Oh, it gives me goosebumps thinking about it. Anyway, so we're talking about this. He's telling me like it was, I'd never seen that many people exit or talk about this story. Then, you know, there must have been something in it. So, I don't know, months and months pass, and me and Joe and a few other friends, we've just finished clubbing and we're driving home, and we start talking about Stickman. And next minute, no word of a lie, we had this big bang on the roof of our car, like a real big bang, like this. And we all as shit. I went, God, and Joe goes, oh my God, Stickman is on the roof of the car. And we all freaked out because that bang was so loud, it felt like something had jumped on the car. Anyway, so we drove to my place because they were dropping me off first, and we all pulled up outside the driveway, and we're all sitting in the car going, what are we going to do? There's something on the roof. And I said, alright, let's all of us get out at the same time, so, you know, we're all in this together. So we just jumped out of the car, and there was nothing there, of course, but oh, it was so freaky. Anyway, they dropped me off and they said get inside quick, Gary, and lock the doors, and I did that. And I went to bed, and my window was, and I had a window with gauze and protection, so that was okay. But I'm laying in bed and I see this thing walking past my window, and I just snuck out, jumped up, got in the lounge room, turned the lights on, put music on, and so I get goosebumps thinking about it. But that's the story of Stickman. And they never say his name too loud, because when you say Stickman, he comes around. So I shouldn't be